Hey, welcome to 5 Minutes with Conor. I'm Conor Smith, and today we're diving in with another successful entrepreneur. Whether you're tackling operational challenges, marketing challenges, or like about the gentleman we're about to meet, lots and lots of technical challenges, every small business is a unique journey. I'm excited to learn about Keith Schoolcraft and his role as CEO of a couple of gurus in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you.
Good to be with you today. You and I are brothers in arms, both having managed services providers, and not everybody knows, what that means. So Keith, could you just take a few minutes here and just tell people, about your business, what you do, who you do it for?
Yeah. As a managed service provider, I think the idea and the concept of that is to be proactive on issues, right? Rather than waiting till you run out of gas. Let's fill that gas tank up ahead of time. And we do that with computers, right? So with managing clients and customers' computers. And the segment that we do that for is world-changing organizations. What that means to us is in our area, we have a lot of medical device manufacturers and a lot of precision manufacturers that are making things that make the world a better place. And so we're just, passionate to help them along in their journey and take it day by day and hopefully, enabling that technology to be an enabler to them rather than a barrier.
I think that is one of the greatest things about our business that people don't understand is we get pulled into lots of different industries, lots of different entrepreneurs, and at the end of the day, just helping them win. What a neat niche that you found. And yeah, when you said world changing, I was a little bit like, huh. But now I completely understand why. That's great, Keith. Keith, a lot of this show and content is trying to share with other business people, other entrepreneurs that are small business folk like you and me. And so can you just talk a little bit about, in the context of that, whether it's personal or professional, what you feel your greatest accomplishment has been?
I think being an entrepreneur is really hard. And I think that anytime you have barriers, you need to look at yourself as a leader and look at what you need to change and grow. So I think for me, the greatest accomplishment is reaching out to others who've been before me, and to tap into their knowledge. I recently visited a guy who had sold his MSP, he just retired, and spent a couple days with him actually. It was just life-giving and really informative, and he was pouring into me things that maybe I wasn't thinking about. Not that anyone wants to exit their business, but at some point we'll all exit our business, right? So, but in the meantime, we want to be good stewards of that while we're there.
Well, I think, you're starting off of just, it is difficult, and you really do have to face a lot of yourself. And, there's not a lot of blame game that works in being an entrepreneur. You really have to look at all the factors, look at yourself, and work with the team. And I think that's what it makes it so difficult. It's just that mirror of reality and what are you going to do about it? Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
How do you define success?
We define success by wildly happy clients. And what we say internally is if we have wildly happy employees, they will create wildly happy clients. Now, that's a hard thing to do because you can't actually make anybody happy. But when you see it, when you do something, either when you fix something or you put in a new piece of technology and you see it transform their organization and their business and just how happy they are, that to me is the most rewarding.
What is the most important lesson over your now, more than 20 years within this space? And I think just to frame that for everybody out there, talking with Keith earlier, it's like we've seen a lot of change within technology in this industry, from the web to local area networks and wide area networks, and AI now, and voice over IP. So many different phases of technology. It's been pretty dramatic in 20 years. But what do you consider to be your greatest accomplishment?
I think my mindset, and the reason I say that is because I see a lot of people in this industry who they're afraid of sometimes of the change. Or I remember, back when the cloud came out, right? Service providers all over the place were afraid that the cloud was going to eliminate them. I think when you're a business owner and you have something in your industry coming at you, you need to take that and face it head on and come up with a strategy of how you're going to tackle that. And when you do that, that removes the fear of that change, right? I think the owners of companies often like change, but the people in the company aren't quite as adverse to the level of change that sometimes needs to happen. So I think being a change agent and carefully in crafting that change through the organization is what helps you stay in longevity, right? I mean, look at Nintendo. Nintendo started off as a card playing company, right, in their history. So they were in a sense, the entertainment industry, if you will. So while that eventually transformed into a digital format, into the Nintendo Switch and the different things like that, they reinvented themselves. They weren't afraid of the change. And so I think if you want a company that's going to have longevity, you've got to take your industry. You got to look at other industries too and look at how they embrace change. But take your team behind you to drive that change forward.
I think that's beautifully said, Keith. I mean, I think so often in our industry, we think a lot about, uptime, security, performance, access, those types of things. But I've never really heard somebody frame it that way of, an MSP, if they're doing their job, they're really helping you keep up with change and adopt change. That was great.
Yeah.
Keith, I want to thank you for taking some time today and sharing your story with us. It's always inspiring to hear about how entrepreneurs are growing themselves, how they're navigating changes, and creating opportunities that drive value for themselves and like you mentioned, for your wildly happy people. For those listening, remember, success in business is so much more than about money. It's about purpose. It's about really something, and having faith in something much more than yourself. Keith, you're a world changer by all the partnerships you've got with world-changing companies. I look forward to sharing more journeys like this on the next 5 Minutes with Conor. Thanks, Keith.
Marketing is really hard for people. It's intangible, it's expensive, it doesn't make sense. Small businesses struggle with it. And ultimately, we try and help people make it make sense and produce good return on investments for them. If you can get people out of the complexities and really just help them with their story, their brand, and then truly moving off of that stuff into things that actually generate leads for them, that's what they're looking for.